questions que mes générations se posent sont les suivantes, si je peux me résumer. C'est de ne pas comprendre comment l'Afrique, avec tant de richesses sous notre sol, avec une nature généreuse, de l'eau, du soleil en abondance, l'Afrique est aujourd'hui le continent le plus pauvre. L'Afrique est un continent affamé. Et comment se fait-il que les chefs d'État traversent donc le monde à mendier? Voici des questions que nous nous posons et que nous n'avons pas de réponse jusque-là. Nous avons l'occasion de tisser de nouvelles relations. Et j'espère que ces relations puissent être les meilleures pour donner un meilleur avenir à nos peuples.
Hello everybody, my name is German Chris. We are here for a new video today where we are going to explain why the Burkina Faso's president, Captain Ibrahima Traoré'S speech has been a trend. There was a 2-day summit between Russia and Africa in Saint Petersburg, in which the links between Russia and the African continent or with some African countries were being discussed between Russian President Vladimir Putin and his African counterparts. And during this reunion, the Burkina Faso president, Captain Ibrahima Traoré, was asked to give his speech. He begins his speech by sending the warmest greetings from the people of Burkina Faso and thanks God for their reunion, in which they will be speaking about the future of their countries. He then makes us to remember that Russia played a vital tool to get rid of the Nazism during the Second World War, together with the African people, since most of our great-grandparents were sent to Europe against their will to fight against Nazism. He then insists that Russia and Africa are a family, since the Russian people and the African people are said to be the forgotten people, since they have been not mentioned in films and in history books. He then also insists that this summit will help them have better links regarding their future generations. He notifies on the fact that Africa has all the possible natural resources that we can find in this world, but is still the poorest continent, and continues by asking why African heads of states go on begging all around the world. He also insists that young Africans travel overseas to go to Europe in order to have a better standard of living, but most of them die along the line. And he then explains why he doesn't understand how African people who get up to fight against terrorism in their countries in order to have a better standard of living are being judged by the imperialists and some African head of states, whereas when it is done in Europe, these people are being called heroes or patriots. He also pays tribute to former late Burkina Faso president Thomas Sankara with his saying:
L'esclave qui n'est pas capable d'assumer sa révolte ne mérite pas que l'on s'apitoie sur son sort. Nous ne nous apitoyons pas sur nos sorts, on ne demande pas que quelqu'un s'apitoie sur notre sort.
This saying explains that if Africa wants its freedom, its people have to fight. He then also asks the African head of states to stop acting like imperialist puppets and to rather make sure that there is sufficient food supply for their population and the entire African population. He then ends by saying that our heads of states should pay tribute to the African populations who are fighting every day for a better standard of living. So, my dear community, this is just a brief summary of his speech and why it has been a trend. Because he gave up outright what the young African population have in their minds right now with respect to their standard of living, with respect to the African continent. So this is why you can see his speech be a trend in all the social apps. That's a little bit why I wanted to do this video, to make you understand why his speech is a trend, especially for the young Africans and most of the African countries. So please, before you go, please don't forget to put a like, share and subscribe. Thank you.